Good morning, students. So the next we are going to start with the application layer. So in that, the first one we are going to study about the DNS. So before going to the DNS, so first I wanted to discuss about that whenever you are going to connecting to the internet and you are accessing some of the web pages, the first thing is that in your browser, that is, you are going to type the URL. So say for example you are going to type that www dot something, the name of the domain, and dot you are going to write, either it may be the .com or .org. Is it clear? Either it may be the commercial website, either it may be the organizational, or either it may be any institute. So you are going to specifying the domain name over there, and then you are going to click on the right button. So now what happens here, it is that if you have just given the name of the domain to which you wanted to connect, and then you have given the information which pages you wanted to access from that particular server. But if you want to connect to the server on the internet, you need a one address. That address we call it as IP address. This is the unique address. Okay, through that address you are connecting to that particular server only, and then you are able to access. Now the question is that you have written the name of the domain in the URL, okay, but you have not written the IP address. Now how the process of this one, the conversion of that the domain name into the IP address will be done, how that application which is running over there know that this particular domain number is mapped to this specific IP address. Is it clear? So this question is going to be raised. When it knows that for this particular domain number this is the IP address, then only it can send a request to that particular server. Then you people are able to send and receive the information. Is it clear? So this is the main the thing here, the background work, how it is going to be implemented. So now today we are going to study about this topic here, that is a DNS, that is a domain name system. So this DNS name system was invented in the year 1983. The essence of DNS is the invention of an hierarchical domain based naming scheme. Is it clear? So you got that idea. Hierarchically you have to name the domains. Is it clear? How you have to name the domain? There are n number of different types of domains are there in the world. Is it clear? So you should have some procedure for the naming scheme. So here they have invented one is a hierarchical domain based naming scheme, and they are having a distributed data system. Is it clear? Have you heard about the distributed the data system for implementing this naming schemes? So it is primarily used for mapping host names to IP address, but can also be used for some other purposes also. So what is the main purpose here for using of this domain naming system is that so here it is primarily used for mapping the host names to the IP addresses. Whenever you are going to type the URL over there, so that is the name of the domain you are going to specify. So you should know what is the IP address of that particular domain. You should the application should know, it should get the IP address of that particular the domain what you have typed. Then only it is able to set up a link to that server, and then only you are able to access. Okay, now if you are going to see the working process of this, how exactly it is going to be implemented. So here the DNS is used as follows, that is to map a name onto an IP address. You are mapping a name to the particular IP address. Now an application programmer is going to be call a library procedure called the resolver. So application program which is running over there, so now what it is going to do, it is going to be call one of the library procedure called as a resolver. Now this resolver, it is going to be passed the name as a parameter. So already we have given the name over there. Okay, so this name, it is going to be passed as a parameter. Now the resolver is going to be send a query containing the name to the local DNS server. Is it clear? Now what the resolver is going to do, it is going to be send one query containing the name of that particular domain you have written to the local DNS server. It is going to send a query to the local DNS server. Okay, now the local DNS server which looks up the name, okay, for this particular domain name, this is the IP address. So it is having a list of the domain names, and the respective IP addresses will be there. It is going to search it in the database. From that database it is going to give the information. Okay, so what is that information? It returns the responses containing the IP address. So this IP addresses, it is going to given to the resolver. Okay, once the resolver get IP address, which then returns it to the caller. Okay, once it get the IP address, now it is going to return that IP address to the caller. Now the query and response messages are sent as a UDP a packet. So here the query and response messages, that is the resolver is going to send a query to the DNS server, and the response what the resolver is going to be issued. So this communication is done, that is with the help of the UDP packets. Now when you get the IP address, now you want to communicate with that particular server. Now the program is going to then establish a TCP connection with the particular host. Okay, and then it is going to communicate. So now we are going to see this uh, uh, the diagram here. You just see it here, whatever I have explained here. Okay, the user wanted to communicate with the server, that is a cs dot the princeton.edu. Now what the program which is going to be running here, the application program which it is going to running here. So this program is going to send the query message or the request to the name server. Okay, please send the IP address of this cs.princeton.edu. Okay, the DNS name server is going to search that, okay, for this particular the name, the domain. So this is the IP address. Now the IP address is going to be returned to the resolver. Okay, now the program is going to establish a TCP connection here to the IP address what it has been received. It is going to be send a request for the TCP connection. If the server is going to respond to that, if it is willing to accept that connection, then that server is going to send a response that your connection is accepted, and next onwards they are going to send and receive the information. Is it clear? Either it may be through the TCP connection, or either it may be to the UDP, depending upon the type of the connection what they are having. Is it clear? So this is here the working process of this the DNS name system. Now we are going to in detail about this the DNS naming system here. So that is here you are going to study about what you mean by the DNS, the namespace. Okay, so before going to this, we are going to see one example here, that is in the postal systems. What they are going to do, that is a name management is going to be done in the postal system. Okay, so that is they are going to give some specific the code, okay, to represent the country, state, or any particular the provinces, city, state. Okay, or either it may be the street address. So for all these they are going to give some particular code, they are going to give some letters over there. Is it clear? So using this kind of hierarchical addressing ensures that there is no confusion in delivering a letter. Is it clear? The letter should be delivered to the particular address. Is it clear? So for that here they are going for the name management. Okay, so for each country code will be there, for each state code will be there. Either they are going to be representing it with the letters depending upon the type of the system which they are implementing in the different countries. Is it clear? So this is the one with the system is going to be run by the postal system. In your say for example in India we are going to using the postal code over there. Say for example if you consider that 586 155 102 103. Is it clear? So this is how you people are going to give that. In that it is going to be representing the country code, it is representing the state code, it is representing the district code, it is representing the postal address. Is it clear? So everything is going to be defined in that particular the code. Okay, so here also the same thing is that whenever you want to access any particular the domain. Is it clear? So how you are going to be representing this, that is how you are going to be representing this particular hierarchy. So the for the internet here the top of the naming hierarchy is managed by one organization called ICANN. So now we are going to be study about this, how this hierarchy is going to be maintained, who is going to maintain this hierarchy, what are the different types of the domains are there, everything details we are going to study here. So this top of the naming hierarchy is managed by one of the organization called as ICANN, Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and the Numbers. So this ICANN was created for the purpose in the year 1998. Okay, the internet is divided into over 250 top level domains. So here what they have done, the internet is divided into over 250 top level domains. Okay, each domain covers many hosts. So totally, okay, your internet is totally divided into over 250 top level domains. Each domain is going to be covers many hosts. Each domain is partitioned into subdomains. Is it clear? Each domain is partitioned into subdomains. Okay, and these are further partitioned and so on. All these domains can be represented by the tree structure. All these domains are represented by a tree structure. Is it clear? So this is the diagram here which I wanted to show it to you. Is it clear? So now all these domains can be represented by a tree structure. Now the leaves of the tree represent domains that have no subdomains. The leaves of this tree is going to be representing the domains that have no subdomains. A leaf domain may contain a single host. It may represent a company, okay, and contains 1,000 of hosts. Top level domains come into two flavors, okay. So one is a generic domain, another one is a country domain. So generic domain include original domains from 1980s and the domains introduced via applications to ICANN. Is it clear? So whatever these top level domains are there, so these domains are comes in two flavors. One is a generic domain, another one is a country domain. So generic domain include the original domains from the 1980 and the domains which are introduced via applications to ICANN by the permission of that ICANN. Is it clear? Now the country domains are there. So these country domains include one entry for every country. One entry for every country. Okay. These domains let people name the host in Arabic, okay, Chinese or any other particular languages. Now, top level domains are run by a registrars appointed by a ICANN. So, who is going to look after this? Who are going to run this? Okay, the top level domains are run by a registrars appointed by ICANN. So getting a name, how you have to get a domain name. So this question is going to be raised. If you want to get a name, what you have to do and under which category it has to be located, under the generic or under the country domain. So getting a name is going to requires that you have to meet a corresponding registrar, okay, to check whether your desired name is available or not. Okay, if your desired domain name is available, okay, and not somebody else has trademark, and it should not be a somebody else trademark. The domain name what you are going to be registered here, it should not be a somebody else trademark and it should be available. Is it clear? If there are no problems, now the requester pays the registrar annual fee. Is it clear? Now what the requester is going to do, that is who wanted to get a domain name, okay, so he is going to pay the annual fee to the registrar and then he is going to get a domain name. In this way you people are going to getting the domain name and then the people are going to access the domain name. Is it clear? The practice of registering a domain name only to turn around and selling it off to an interested party at a much higher prices, even as a name, it is called as a cyber squatting. Some of the people what they are going to do is that, so they are just registering the domain name specific, very important, the name they are going to choose it and then they are going to register the domain and afterwards they are going to sell it to an interested party who want that particular domain name for the much higher prices. That domain name they are going to be sell it. Is it clear? This is also the procedure some of the people are going to be following. Okay, so this is here they are going to be call it as a cyber squatting. Now each domain is named by the path that is upward from it to the root. Is it clear? The components are separated by the period. Say for example, that is eng.cisco.com. Is it clear? You just see it here in the generic. So that is eng. If you want to refer the domain eng, so how you are going to refer? So you have to specify the path to refer that domain. So how you have to specify the path? That is in the upward direction from it to the root. So that is from eng.cisco.com. Is it clear? Domain names are a case insensitive. So edu or capital edu, or you may write it as all capital edu, all are going to give you the same meaning, that domain names are case insensitive. Component names can be up to 63 characters long, and the full and path name is clear, and the full path name, okay, must should not exceed 255 characters. Okay, now the domain which you are going to be choose, you have registered, it will be under any one of that, either it may be generic or country, and under any one of this top level the domain. Now it depends upon that what type of a domain it is it clear? So the domain which you are going to register, so here there are different types of the domains are available. So if it is a .com extension will be there, it is indicating a commercial. If it is a .edu indicating educational institute, .gov indicating it is a government domain, okay, MIL it is a military domain, .net network providers, .org non-profitable organizations are there, is it clear? .info is a informational, .museum is a museum. So there are different types of the domains are there, so under which particular your domain, your name belongs to. Okay, so whether it is a commercial domain, or whether it is organizational domain, or whether it is a government domain or a military, is it clear? So what type of the domain it is, based on that you are going to get a that extension. So here the example they are given, domains can be inserted into tree, that is uh, so here we are going to see that domains can be inserted into the tree. Okay, how you are going to insert into the tree, that is either it may be a generic domain, or either it may be the country domain. Say for example here there is a cs.washington.edu. so cs, this is the one of the domain, that higher domain, that is a .washington.edu, it is a type of educational domain. sony.com is clear, commercial. .net, and some of the country domains are there, that is the cs.washington.w.us. so it is representing, us is representing, that is domain belongs to the country domain us.nl, netherlands, .jp, japan. Okay, so you are having that the domain should be inserted into the tree, either it may be under the generic domain, or either it may be under the country domain. Okay, generic domains are having these type of the extensions, .edu, .com, okay, .gov and all these things, and the country domain is having an extension of that particular the code, country code will be there, .us, .nl, .jp, is it clear? So other codes are also there, that is .uk will be there, .au will be there, .us, .nl. so in this way you are going to inserting your domains, either country, or either it may be in the generic. Okay, so now the domain names can be either absolute or relative. A absolute domain name always ends with a period. So here they are going to say that domain names can be either it may be absolute, or either it may be a relative. Okay, so here they are going to be say that a domain names always end with the period. Say for example here they are given eng.cisco.com, after that also you are going to putting the dot. Is it clear? But where a relative one does not, directly you are going to write eng.cisco.com only, after that com you are not going to put a period, so that is a relative one. Okay, now you are going to see about a domain resource records. Okay, so every domain, whether it is a single host or a top level domain, can have a set of resource records associated with it. Okay, what are these records associated with any particular domain, either it may be the single or a top level domain, what are the resources are associated with it? These records are the DNS database. These records are nothing but DNS database. Okay, when a resolver gives a domain name to the DNS, okay, what it gets back are the resource records. You just see it here, these records are nothing but a DNS database. So whenever a resolver gives a domain name to the DNS, already you have seen it in the working process that a resolver is going to send a query, okay, that is the name of the domain name to the DNS server. So what it has to give in return? So that is nothing but the resource records which are associated with that name. So whatever the resource records associated with that name, so as per the request of that particular resolver, so the DNS server is going to send these resource records. Okay, the primary function of DNS is to map domain names onto resource records. What is the main primary function of the DNS here? the primary function of the DNS is to map domain names onto the resource records. There are different types of the resource records are there associated with the domain name. So here the resource record, the format is of a 5 tuple. So it first one here, it is the domain name, time to live will be there, class, type and a value. Okay, domain name, the resource record, in that first one, the first field is a domain name. So it tells the domain to which this record applies. Is it clear? It tells the name of the domain to which this record belongs to. Time to live field gives an indication of how stable the record is. Is it clear? So how stable the record is, that if the record is highly stable, is assigned a larger value such as 86400, that many number of seconds in one day. Is it clear? So if it is the highly volatile, is assigned a small value such as 60, that is a 1 minute. It means that if a record which you are going to, if it is the highly stable, it can be stored up to 1 day, if that is assigning a larger value. If the record is highly volatile, so it is going to assigning a small value, that is up to 60, that is it can be stored in that for up to maximum 1 minute. Okay, so that is the time to live field, that is the indication of how stable the record is. Okay, once the time is going to be occurred, the record is going to be removed from that. Now class, for internet information it is always in, for non-internet information other codes are also there. So if it is the internet information, always it is in. Now the type field is going to be tells what kind of record this is. There are many kind of DNS records are going to be available, so they are going to give you the information. Okay, so now you are going to see some of the examples. If it is a that is a NS, okay, if the type is NS, now what value it is going to be retained about that domain. Is it clear? So the value field here gives the domain name for a host that is running a name server. Is it clear? If you are going to give the NS, now what is that? NS is a name server. So what it is going to return? Name of a server for this particular the domain. This field gives the domain name for a host. This the value field gives the domain name for a host that is running a name server. Is it clear? That knows how to resolve names within the specified domain. So if the type is a CNAME, now what it is going to return? The value field gives the canonical name for a particular host. It is used to define aliases. Is it clear? The value field gives the canonical name for a particular host that is used to define the alias. MX, the value field, if the type is MX, the value field gives the domain name for a host. The value field gives the domain name here. Return is the domain for name for a host that is running a mail server. Is it clear? So these are all there are different types are there. SOA is there, start of authority. Okay, so value it is going to return is a parameter for this particular zone. A is going to representing IPv4 address of a host. It is a 32-bit integer. The value is a 32-bit integer, that is IP address it is going to return. Okay, 4 A's are there. It is IPv6 address of a host. So value return where the value is 128-bit integer, that is a IPv6 address of that host you want. Okay, so in this way here you are having a different the types are there. Okay, and what is the meaning and what is the value it is going to be return, that is which it is going to be associated with that particular the domain. So this is here all about that particular resource, the records. Okay, these are all the different types, and this is the value. The value field can be either a number, either it may be the domain name, or it may be any particular ASCII string. Okay, so we will stop it here. So the next year we are going to see about a name servers and all. So thank you very much.